Testing. Testing. Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Cool Beans Hot Stuff. Today is Wildlife Wednesdays, which means we're going to be talking about wildlife, nature orientated stuff. And today it is tornadoes. We're going to talk about tornadoes and specifically Tornado Alley because a while back, a loved one of mine had informed me that Tornado Alley had shifted and it had shifted right over the top of me. And I was like, oh no, oh no. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. I thought it'd make for an interesting stream. So, yeah, we're going to talk about tornadoes today. If anybody had tuned in yesterday or was hoping to tune in for my Terrifying Tuesdays, yesterday was supposed to be Terrifying Tuesday, and I didn't get to make a stream yesterday because we had a storm overhead. Not a tornado, thankfully, but still a pretty nasty storm. And it was fucking with my OBS and all my web pages. And I tried for like half an hour. And then I just said, fuck it. I'm going to go to the store. Then I went to the store and I came home and everything was nice, sunny, rainbows, little birds chirping, baby deer all everywhere, all that shit. But I was tired and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to save that for next week. So I was gonna do my Alaska Myths and Legends stream next week or this week, yesterday, and instead I'm gonna move it over to next week. So next Tuesday will be Alaska Myths and Legends. Will be Myths and Legends, where we'll be talking about all kinds of myths, spooky myths, ghosts, devilfish, all kinds of crazy shit that they have up in Alaska, right? So, and last development too, if anybody, if you're watching this on YouTube and you go check out any of my other videos, you will notice there is a nasty fucking crackle in every single video. It's like right in the middle of the video, like every 5 minutes. Or, anyways, it's like a crackle every 5 minutes. And it was just killing me, man. And my family and my loved ones, they would watch it and they would say, oh, it's not so bad, it's not too bad, but that's kind of like when you go to your mom and ask her, am I ugly? And she says, no, sweetheart, you're not ugly, you're aesthetically challenged, right? She's just being nice. The truth is you're fucking ugly. And so I would ask people about my stream and they'd say, "No, it's not so bad." And reality, it was bad. They're like, "I can hardly hear it." You probably hear it cuz you're like audio engineer and stuff. And I'm like, "I'm deaf. I don't hear anything unless I have an ear pod in my ears or hearing aids. So if I can hear it, you're definitely hearing it. You're probably just not noticing." But I'm sure people on YouTube notice. Well, if you haven't noticed yet, I've been going 3.5 minutes. No crackle. We're crackle free up in this bitch. No crackling. I got a new interface that doesn't have a mute button. I didn't notice that until I got here. And so now I'm going to try my best to mute my burps and farts and all my nasty human noises using my OBS. We'll see how it works. If it doesn't work out, then I'll probably be on the market for another interface. But first, I'm going to turn that one back because that was a $300 Mackie interface that went to shit as soon as I took it out of the box. And I've been working on getting that crackle out of my stream. Ooh, I tell you, for like 3 fucking months, I've been working on that because I thought it was like drivers in my PC and shit. I was like done with PC. I was like, I'm never buying another PC. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not dealing with this bullshit. This is silly. Buy a fucking PC, get it all custom put together with lights and whistles and bells and all the cool shit. And yeah, it looks cool. It's nice. It's pretty. It's sexy. It's fine. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's a sexy fucking computer as far as computers go. But I don't need sexiness in a computer, all right? I need it to fucking work and function. And if it ain't gonna do that, then I don't need it. And I don't want to sit and, fiddle fuck with all this crazy shit in my computer, to get so I can just hear the audio. So I was almost dead set on like I'm done with PCs. I'm not ever buying another PC ever again. But turns out it wasn't the PC. It was the interface. And I swear I knew it. I said it right when it first happened. I was like, I wonder it's the interface. But friends of mine who are smarter than me said, no, it's not the interface. And I was like, okay, well, you're probably right. Because it is crazy for an interface to go out like that. 9 years in the music industry, I've never ran into that, especially with good brands. This was a Mackie mainstream, $300 interface. It shouldn't be going to shit right out of the box. So I need to send that back to somebody. Mackie, Amazon, somebody needs to take that shit back and give me a good one. If there's something defect with that or what, it could just be the drivers with it just don't gel well with my PC, maybe. I don't know. But, anyways, we're crackle free. The whole point of my rant there. So I'm pretty excited about that. I hope you're excited about it too. And I hope you're excited about tornadoes. So let's jump into tornadoes. First thing that we should probably go over is what the fuck is a tornado? Well, everybody, for the most part, knows what a tornado is, right? Like you see one, it's hard to miss, right? Run the other way. Pretty simple. Yeah. But we're going to default to this lady at 61 Fox News. Let's go over to the YouTube screen. And she's going to tell us how a tornado forms. So let's do a real quick little lesson on tornado formation. Hey?
Tornadoes usually develop on warm and humid days. As hot air rises and hits the cooler air above, moisture condenses into clouds. This process, occurring on a large scale, will eventually produce towering clouds and even a thunderstorm. But we also need wind shear, wind speed or direction that changes with height. For example, at the ground, the air is moving at one speed or direction, but above our heads, the air is flowing an entirely different way. In between, this creates horizontal rotation. When air rises quickly into a thunderstorm, known as the updraft, that rotation gets tilted vertically. As that spin gets stronger, the cloud base starts to lower, and sometimes a funnel becomes visible. This funnel cloud is made up of spinning water droplets from moisture getting continuously pulled into the storm. Once the funnel touches the ground, it becomes a tornado, kicking up dirt and debris. Whoa! The tornado may last for a few seconds, or it can go on for miles.
All right. And that's how we make tornadoes, ladies and gentlemen. So I still didn't quite understand all of that. I know air goes one way, air above goes another way. They do a little horizontal thingy that she said, the horizontal mambo. And then when it gets swept up into the cloud, boom, starts fucking shit up. So that's the basics of it, right? You could squeak by with that explanation, and non-tornado experts wouldn't be the wiser. But so there you go. That's how tornadoes form. That's kind of important to know. Not necessarily that we need to know that for today's stream, but I thought it was a good place to start, right? I had to run to my OBS to mute that. The whole time I was like, I'm about to cough, I'm about to die, I'm about to die. And then had to hit the mute button on my OBS because I don't have my mute button right here no more. That's going to be a change. But I also thought it was kind of interesting what I thought I don't know much about. Maybe some of you do. Okay, maybe you guys are smarter than me. But how do they judge the strength of a tornado? I thought that was kind of an interesting question too, because I don't know. I have no flipping idea how they do this. So let's learn about this. How damage determines a tornado's rating from Fujita to enhanced Fujita. It kind of sounds like Vegeta. Fujita. Okay. It is nearly impossible to measure the actual wind speed inside tornadoes, as they can destroy just about any unprotected weather instrument placed in their path. While storm chasers and engineers have developed vehicles and instruments capable of withstanding tornadoes, the intensity of tornadoes is primarily measured after their impact by using the enhanced Vegeta tornado intensity scale. It says Vegeta. I'm just going to call it Vegeta because I feel like it. And my headphones gave out. So you can hear me, but I can't hear myself. So I'm going to sync my headphones while I'm talking. The original Fujita tornado damage scale, also known as the Fujita-Pearson scale, the Vegeta scale is much cooler, was introduced in 1971 by Dr. Theodore Fujita a severe storms researcher at the University of Chicago, in collaboration with Alan Pearson, then head of the National Severe Storms Forecast Center. The scale was named in honor of Dr. Fujita for his groundbreaking work in tornado intensity classification. Okay, well, hooray for that guy. The official Fujita scale category was determined based on the following: damage surveys, ground swirl patterns analyzed for indications of tornado strength, weather radar data, witness testimonies, accounts from people who experienced the tornado, media reports, and damage injury. So if you, in photogrammetry and videogrammetry, okay, don't know what that is. But so if you're ever in a tornado and some random scientist walks up to you and is like, so tell us about the tornado, be like, it was fucking this big. It was huge. It was like this. It took a whole house. It took 3 houses. It was so huge. Biggest tornado ever. And then there's a chance that they're going to be like, oh gosh, sheesh, yeah, you were in the biggest tornado in the world. So, ham that shit up if anybody ever asks. At that time, there are very few actual measurements of tornado wind speeds that could be related to the damage, but Dr. Fujita's, right? They misspelled his name there. Dr. Fujita used available data along with a lot of educated insight to devise approximate wind speed ranges for each damage category. And so that's what this is. The Fujita scale at a glance. The Fujita scale was updated in 1973 to include considerations for path length and width. In the United States, tornadoes began receiving ratings shortly after their occurrence starting that year. Additionally, the Fujita scale was applied retroactively to tornadoes reported between 1950 and 1972. Dr. Fujita rated tornadoes from 1916 to 1992. Wow, this guy lived a good long life of rating tornadoes. Who would have thought, right? And Tom Grzoulis of the Tornado Project retroactively rated all known significant tornadoes in the U.S. back to 1880. Below is a brief description of the Fujita scale. So here's the scale. F0, gale tornado. Light damage, some damage to chimneys, branches broken off trees, shallow rooted trees pushed over, signboards are damaged, right? F1 is a moderate tornado, can get up to 112 miles per hour. That's going pretty fast. Moderate damage, peel surface off roofs, mobile homes pushed off foundations or overturned, moving autos blown off-road. Ooh, geez. Okay, F2 is a significant tornado, can get up to 157 miles per hour. Considerable damage, roofs torn off frame houses, mobile homes demolished, boxcars overturned, large trees snapped or uprooted, light object missiles generated, cars lifted off ground. I'm assuming that means it can start throwing shit at you. So be forewarned. F3 is a severe tornado, 206 miles per hour, severe damage, roofs and some walls torn off of well-constructed houses, trains overturned, most trees and forests uprooted, heavy cars lifted off the ground and thrown. F4 is a devastating tornado, 260 miles per hour, devastating damage, well-constructed houses leveled, structures with weak foundations blown away some distance, cars thrown, and large missiles generated. And F5 is the last one, an incredible tornado, goes up to 318 miles per hour. Ooh, that's a bad boy. Strong frame houses leveled off foundations and swept away. Automobile-sized missiles fly through the air in excess of 100 meters. Trees debarked. Incredible phenomena will occur. That means you're fucked, that last sentence right there. That means if you're standing its way, the pooch is screwed. So there's the Fujita scale for tornadoes, all right? Never knew what that was. Everybody always says, it's an F5, it's an F3. I see it in the Twister movie. It's an F5 right there. And I don't really know what that means. You just hear the bigger the number, the more fucked you are. That's what you remember, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to the actual meat and potatoes of what we're talking about here. Where do tornadoes happen? All right, well, let's look in. Most tornadoes are found in the Great Plains of the central United States, an ideal environment for the formation of severe thunderstorms. In this area, known as Tornado Alley, storms are caused when dry, cold air moving south from Canada meets warm, moist air traveling north from the Gulf of Mexico. Tornadoes can be formed at any time of year. Are we still doing the Gulf of America thing, or is it back to Gulf of Mexico? I don't know when this was written, but I feel like Donald Trump would have something to say about that. Tornadoes can form at any time of the year, but most occur in the spring and summer months along with thunderstorms. May and June are usually the peak months for tornadoes. So here's a handy dandy little map right here. the most tornadoes right there in the middle of Oklahoma, which is a bummer. That's a boomer because mommy and daddy live somewhere right around in this area. I'm pretty sure. So that's no good. But where they live, everybody's used to it. You know, tornadoes. It's just like any storm anywhere I've ever lived or any kind of like natural occurrence. I'm gonna pop over here. Hello. Hold on. Noises. Okay. Wherever I've lived in a handful of different places. I've lived in California, Wyoming, Colorado, move over here. We're in Tennessee right now. See, I even forgot where I was living for a minute because I've just been all over the motherfucking place. And, you know, everywhere I've been, Arizona, right? So wherever you live, there's always like storms that happen. It just happens and you just get used to it. You know, here in Tennessee and especially over there in Oklahoma where tornadoes are just rampant constantly, everybody there is like, oh, it's a tornado. Okay, well, I maybe, you know, I'm going to go get some groceries and then I'm going to go get a Starbucks and then I'm going to chill, you know, and then get some food and then I'll think about moving out of the way, you know. But after I do all of that, you know, and get a good nap and then I'll think about maybe going into the bunker. You know, people there just don't give a fuck. They're so used to it. They're like, tornado, yeah, right, whatever. I could give a shit. Tell me something interesting. You know, in California, everybody is that way with earthquakes. In California, I mean, I never lived anywhere with earthquakes before I moved to California. So in California, I remember there would be, you know, you would be sitting there and then you'd feel like a shift, like kind of like a, like the whole room would go like this for a second. And you'd be like, am I high? Like, no, didn't take any mushrooms. Not yet. Not today. And then somebody'd be like, oh, that was an earthquake. And he'd be like, oh my God, that was an earthquake. And everybody would be like, yeah, dude, it was just an earthquake. No big deal. And he'd be like, no big deal. Doesn't that shit kill people? And they'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, sometimes, but it didn't kill you that time. So you're fine. You know, everybody down there is like, chill. It's like, whatever. It's an earthquake. Who cares? Don't make it in a big deal and it won't be a big deal. Tennessee, same thing. In Colorado, snowstorms, you know, there'll be 2 feet of snow on the ground and people will be like, oh, it's a pretty nice day today, isn't it? You'd be like, no, there's 2 feet of fucking snow on the ground, dick. Like, it's not a nice day. I'm freezing my balls off. And they'd be like, oh, no, you know, it's whatever. It's just a snowstorm. No big deal. You know, you'll see people on the fucking highway going 75 miles per hour in Colorado in the middle of a snowstorm. It'll be blizzarding. I know because I've done it. I grew up in Wyoming and Colorado, and I was one of those crazy shits that would be on the highway traveling through blizzards, going 65 miles an hour, pulling a trailer, you know, sitting there toking on my pipe in the middle of a blizzard, right? So, and then my cutie pie, she's from Hawaii. She comes over here to Tennessee, and first mention of a tornado, she's like looking at the sky, she's like, oh no, it's a tornado, you know. But then if you mention hurricanes to her, she's like, oh, whatever, it's just a hurricane, it's not a big deal. And it's like, it's not a big deal, like those fucking things kill people. And she's like, well, yeah, if you're near them, it's not that big of a deal. Like, everybody, wherever you're from, you get used to those crazy weather patterns, whatever it is, you know. So when I lived in Arizona, that was a crazy one. In Arizona, they have haboobs, which is an awesome name because it doesn't matter how terrifying it is. If it's called a haboob, it's immediately less terrifying, right? But haboobs are giant sandstorms that will sweep through the city. And I remember being in a haboob, or at least living there when a haboob happened. And people, my brother who had lived there before and had been through one, had told me like, yeah, just make sure you shove towels in the door and in the windows and shit because sand will get in and you'll have like a big old inch of sand underneath your door. When you go to open your door, it'll get all the sand in your shit and everything. So it's like, oh, okay, so put towels under the door and whatever. But some people, they'll be like in the middle of the city, the haboob is like a giant wall of sand. It doesn't look funny, right? It doesn't look like it should be called a haboob when it's coming at you. It looks like it should be called a giant fucking wall of oh fuck. That's what it should be called. That's the proper name for a haboob, is a giant wall of oh fuck. And it's coming at you, this giant wall of sand. And there'll be people that are walking around, they'll get swim goggles out. It's not like a thing everybody does in the city, but there'll be people like the campus on ASU, they're walking around still going to classes, they just wear swim goggles out into the fucking the sand, you know, like a freaking Star Wars character or some shit, you know. So people get used to the weird weather wherever they're at. It doesn't matter what it is. And down there in Oklahoma, it seems like we should all be very sad for them because of all the tornadoes. And they don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't want your sympathy. They're like, oh, no, tornadoes, it's whatever. At least we don't have those haboobs, right? So Oklahoma and Texas, the two states with the most tornadoes, yeah. Here. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to read this. That's right. We already read that. Notice that the location with the highest number of thunderstorms does not match the location with the highest number of tornadoes. And then it doesn't give me a reason why that's important. But yeah, so there's the highest amount of thunderstorms is actually here in the south. We'll get to that in a minute. We're gonna mention a little bit of something about that. And then here's the highest concentration of tornadoes. Go back up there, Texas and Oklahoma. Then you get into a little bit of Florida and a little bit of what is that state? Indiana, right? So that's Tornado Alley right there. This whole shitting thing right here, that's Tornado Alley. That's where you don't want to live if you're afraid of tornadoes. That's not the place to be. Go live where they have haboobs or hurricanes or some shit. You'll be better off. The Great Plains are conducive to the type of thunderstorms that spawn tornadoes. It is in this region that cool, dry air in the upper levels of the atmosphere caps warm, humid surface air. This situation leads to a very unstable atmosphere and the development of severe thunderstorms. Look at the map above. The blue lines show the path of tornadoes produced by storms on April 3rd, 4th, 1974. Why are all the lines? Oh, that's a question. So, yeah, here's the path of some popular tornadoes. It's a teeny tiny little baby image. I'm clicking on it and it's not getting bigger. So that's all I'm out of options, you guys. It's going to stay a tiny image. And so, yeah, it shows you where the tornadoes are moving. They're all moving southwest, right? Okay, so that's where tornadoes happen. That's what Tornado Alley is. It's this thing right here, which is important to know. We're going to read a little bit more about it. Spawned by the raging interactions of powerful thunderstorms, tornadoes are some of the most awe-inspiring and destructive natural forces seen in the United States. Tornado Alley is an area of the U.S. where there is a high potential for tornado development. This area encompasses much of northern Texas, northward through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and parts of Louisiana, Iowa, Nebraska, and eastern Colorado. Unlike all other parts of the U.S., this region is most vulnerable to tornado development because contrasting air masses frequently collide, producing strong and violent thunderstorms, which in turn set the stage for tornado development. Supercells are more organized than normal thunderstorms, often exhibit strong circulation, and are fueled by a volatile mixture of warm, moist air, cold air, and dry air masses. They just got everything in them. The Tornado Alley region geographically favors tornado development, as all the ingredients necessary for their formation often come together here. So it's prime area for that supercell soup right there. The dry air actually originates from the Mexican Plateau, as this air is guided northward just east of the southern and central Rockies and remains elevated, causing a temperature inversion over the northward advancing moist, unstable air from the Gulf of Mexico. This temperature inversion puts a lid on the atmosphere, preventing it from releasing the energy produced from the rising, warm, moist air. A trigger is then needed to erode this inversion, allowing the warm air to rise rapidly in order to generate the thunderstorms. This is where the strong region of upper level winds comes into the mix. Okay, so this is kind of giving us how the tornadoes are made again, which, I didn't understand it the first time entirely. I'm probably not going to get it the second time entirely. So we'll just move on. The original Tornado Alley isn't the only area of the U.S. that is prone to powerful thunderstorms and tornadoes. Dixie Alley is another term often used to describe a subregion of the original Tornado Alley region. Dixie Alley is an east-west oriented oval-shaped offshoot of the original Tornado Alley in the central U.S. The conditions for thunderstorms capable of spawning tornadoes often combine across the deep south. This area encompasses eastern Arkansas, much of Louisiana, and then eastward across Mississippi, Alabama, and into parts of Georgia. These areas, like the Plains states, have a higher potential for tornado development. Activity leading to tornado development across Dixie Alley often originates across the original Tornado Alley. Okay, so let's look up a picture of this. I don't know. Sometimes I think I got all the prep down for my stream, and then I'm reading, and I'm like, oh, shit, I should have gotten that. But, oh well. Dixie Alley. Let's look up what that looks like. This is important for future reference. Dixie Alley tornado map. Okay. There we go. This one looks nice. I like this one for some reason. So a shift in Tornado Alley. Look at that. Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley. Yeah. See another one. Here we go. Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley over here. Okay. Can we... Nice. Gave us a nice big image too. We can move around. Okay, let's keep that. And then well, I guess that image gave us them both. So Dixie Alley, Tornado Alley, we get where that is. Yeah, pretty standard. Tornado Alley is right here, particularly right there. And then poor little Dixie Alley over here getting all fucked up too. Well, this is where the interesting part comes in. This is what my loved ones have warned me about. Okay, the new Tornado Alley has been hyperactive this year. The new Tornado Alley. More tornadoes than usual have struck the U.S. in 2025, and many of them have been touching down farther east than they had in the past. So, let's read about it. By last Saturday, the National Weather Service reported that 552 tornadoes had occurred in the U.S. last year, well above the average of 337 for the period of January through April. Then an outbreak struck Texas and Oklahoma on Saturday night, killing at least 3 people. Parts of those 2 states were at the center of the twister-prone Tornado Alley for most of the 1900s. But this well-known corridor has been shifting steadily eastward in the past 3.5 decades. This year, many of the touchdowns that caused deaths occurred in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, all east of the old Tornado Alley. So, in 2023, Scientific American created a map based on the new extensive study to show the shift in large tornado outbreaks. Ooh, we have a link. Look at links. I love links. Listen. Oh, shit. Pick all things that can store liquids. Well, that can. Cabbages technically store liquids, but we're going to assume that they don't mean cabbages. Look at that. Nice. We get the whole study. Is this the whole entire study here, or it's just giving us... It is. That's nice. Gosh, every time I try to look for studies on the internet, I always run into paywalls. People always wanting to have me pay for their hard work, and I'm like, fuck you. What do I look like to you? An honest person? Okay. This is cool. Well, here, let me save this so I can throw it in the description to the YouTube video. So who's ever watching, if you're interested in this compelling data right here, then you can go ahead and put your data glasses on and take a gander at it. So, but yeah, this is a study they're referencing in this article. Tornado Alley shifts eastward. Large tornado outbreaks, when numerous twisters touch down in the same region on the same day, are happening more frequently in the U.S. from 1950 to 1980. Large outbreaks occurred most often in a roughly oval-shaped region encompassing northeastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and Missouri. Between 1989 and 2019, the locus shifted eastward, covering western Kentucky and Tennessee. Uh-oh. Poor little Tony, that's where he lives, damn it. Plus northern Mississippi and Alabama. The area experiencing the highest concentration has also gotten smaller and even more dangerous than the original Tornado Alley. Ooh, fuckballs. So that's us. I almost didn't catch that one. It's tough getting into the habit of hitting that mute button. Yeah, on the OBS, but I got it that time. So there is dark yellow from 1950 to 1980. Okay, dark yellow represents the largest density of tornado outbreaks, and so that's right there in Oklahoma. Now, from 1989 to 2019, darker lines, which would be right here in Tennessee, in Mississippi, but especially Tennessee. I believe Nashville is right, meow. Yep, right on the edge of that shit. And trust me, I felt that this year. This year was pretty crazy. Last year was pretty crazy for tornadoes. That is the new Tornado Alley, they say. It has shifted eastward, and now it's come over here right where I just bought my house, for God's sakes. I swear to God, this is the world, the universe just fucking with me. That yeah, I bought a house right in this area right here, smack dab on the edge of that. Wouldn't you just know? So, anyways, yeah, there's the shift in pictures. It's always nice to have pictures. So why does the U.S. have so many tornadoes? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where has Tornado Alley moved? We kind of already went over that. Yep. Why is Tornado Alley sliding eastward? Okay, most tornadoes are created by a supercell, a strong thunderstorm with a rotating updraft of air. Supercells tend to form when warm, humid, low air interacts with cool, dry, higher air, and climate change is now generating more of that warmer, moister air. I don't know if you heard that burp. I tried to do it away from the microphone, but if you heard it, you heard it. It is what it is. Tornadoes also are more likely to develop when the local atmosphere is unstable and warming increases instability. Climate change is warming the Gulf of Mexico as well, and this can send generous amounts of water vapor into the southeastern U.S., farther east than it intended to travel decades ago. In addition, climate change has moved the rough north south boundary between dry western U.S. air and moist eastern U.S. air about 140 miles east. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because my house is in the fucking middle of it. I can tell you that. Tornado shelters are common in Texas and Oklahoma, but less so in other U.S. regions. You know, I take issue with that. As much as tornadoes are very common in Oklahoma, a lot of the houses built there don't have tornado shelters. My parents bought a house there in Oklahoma, and the guy that they talked to who built the house was like, yeah, we put a tornado shelter in just in case, but a lot of people don't care. They don't need it. They don't give a shit. So this idea here, I have a little bit of contention with that, right? This idea, tornado shells, they probably are more common in Texas and Oklahoma, but I don't think it's as common as these people want to believe. Again, like I said earlier, people in Oklahoma, they see a tornado and they're just like, oh, I guess that's a tornado. I guess we'll drive this way. They're like, God damn it, I got to take a whole thing now to get to the mall. Fuck. You know, they don't really care, right? It's like an inconvenience to them, more so than it's something to be afraid of. So, the Southeast is more densely populated. That's probably an issue. Yeah. And mobile homes are prevalent. I mean, I feel like mobile homes are far more prevalent in Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma, you know, I did just recently, I was looking at population of people living below the poverty level, and it is far more prevalent in Louisiana and Mississippi, and I think Alabama was it, or maybe Arkansas, than Oklahoma. So that's probably true. Tornadoes in the southeast also occur at night more often than those that strike farther west do, in part because winds can bring ample moisture from the Gulf after dark, and nighttime makes it much harder to see a storm coming. Yeah, I'll tell you that. So last time we had these tornadoes, I had five of them. Five of these cells that were potential tornadoes that they're like, hey, tornado warning, shit's gonna touch down somewhere, watch out. Had five of those in a row in one night, all night long, until 5 in the morning. I was going outside. I would watch my tornado watching software or the websites that I use to track tornadoes, because they have websites that track them in real time. And for those of you who are watching the stream or find it on YouTube that are living in the new Tornado Alley or the old Tornado Alley, because you're not out of the woods yet, you're in it with us, sister. So I got some good websites that I use to watch real-time tornado developments. So when I get a tornado warning on my phone, I pull these websites up, and it gives you a real-time movement of where the tornado is heading. So you can take a look and see, time it out for when it's going to be around your house. And, and then you just watch, right? You basically just watch the sky. And if you look up and the sky is a giant ass cone, then it's time to book it. It's time to go somewhere. But if not, that one particular night, it was pretty crazy. Every time a cell would fly over the house, it was just downpour winds, just super crazy. And then instantly it'd be like, boop, and it was gone, and everything was like super calm again. It was all nice, light, drizzly, romantic rain, and then 5 minutes later, it was like bam, just like a fist to the face, wind, and all kinds of crazy shit, just downpouring, and then it would go away again. And it did that 5 times in one night. So that's kind of what got me interested in tornadoes. My friend just moved from Colorado out here to Tennessee and had the unfortunate luck of having a tornado, like the actual cone, forming as it went over his house. So he could look up in the sky and see the cone slowly spinning as it's getting closer and closer to touching the ground. And it ended up touching the ground like a few miles, yay, that way. And, not over his house where his kids and his wife and shit. So I was trying to mute that cough, but I fucked it up. Anyways, it's not not a science. It's more of an art form. So, anyways, yeah. So there's the shift, right? That's the shift that supposedly has taken place right there. I think we got other maps that show this. Yeah, here's another visualization and another cough coming. Gosh, with the way that I cough, you would think I was like back to smoking weed all day long, which I'm not. I don't do that no more. That's for them kids, them youngins. Smoking weed is a young man's game. But geez, I cough so much when I'm on stream. It's like my burps. I don't burp or cough all day long. Perfectly silent individual. Then the minute I start streaming, just burping and farting and coughing just left and right. It's ridiculous. Okay, so growing evidence that Tornado Alley, the area of the United States most susceptible to tornadoes, is shifting eastward. Tornado Alley is shorthand. We already know what that is. The shift has been going on since 1951. We already know what that's about. Patterns of the tornado genesis. That's a new word. That's kind of cool. Are the process by which a tornado forms. That's got to be my second favorite word we learned on this stream. My first being spaghettification. We learned about spaghettification when we talked about black holes. They spaghettify your ass, which sounds just as unfun as it probably is. Tornado genesis is my second favorite word. Are the process by which tornadoes form, shown that between 1951 and 1985, tornado formation peaked in northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So we've seen this before. There's the peak right there. That's where the most condensed area of tornadoes existed. And then, blam, now it's over here. And this map, thankfully, puts it in Mississippi. So all y'all in Mississippi, you're the ones getting fucked in the butt, not me. I'm up here. We're in the light green. Nice, easy peasy, lemon squeezyville. Y'all are getting it down there. So good luck with that. Tornadoes in the western part of the country decreased by 25% between those two time periods. That was 1951 to 1989, I believe. Oh, here we go. So yeah, okay. Maps of the patterns of tornado genesis, or the process by which a tornado forms, show that between 1951 and 1985, tornado formation peaked in northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Another map shows that from 1986 to 2020, tornado genesis peaked in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. Such events were also were increasing further east, including Virginia, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Oh, look at you guys are getting your tornadoes now. Didn't have no tornadoes. You were like, oh, we're safe from them tornadoes. Now, look at you. All up in your face. Yeah, that's a bummer. Tornadoes in the western part of the country have decreased by 25% between those two time periods. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Look at that. Colorado there, getting a little tornado action. Now, nothing. Oop. Here we go. Falling from over 8,450 tornadoes between 1951 and 1985 to just over 6,000 between 1886 and 2020, the study found. During that time, tornado activity in the eastern United States increased by 12%, growing from over 9,400 tornadoes between 51 and 85 to over 10,500 tornadoes between 1986 and 2020. Okay. So they were already getting a lot more tornadoes on that side, obviously. I think you can see that. But yeah, it increased. Interesting. So, and it's not just the regions that are changing. That's other thing important to know. So it's not just changing the regions, it's also the time of year. Tornadoes are increasingly likely to form in colder weather. Earlier this year, Wisconsin saw a tornado in February, a first for the state. Multiple deadly tornadoes have struck the U.S. this year, especially in the plains and the Midwest. NOAA has confirmed 39 tornado-related deaths this year, including 8 in each Texas and Oklahoma. And on Wednesday, a 2-year-old was killed. Oh no, when a tornado in Michigan caused a tree to fall on a home. Oh, that's horrible. Fucking tree killing little kids. What a dick. 2024 is when this was. Okay. So there's another visualization. So it's essentially just gone from like the center of Tornado Alley, right, meow, and it shifted. Some folks put it over here, but fuck those people. We're going to say they're wrong. And we're going to agree with the other people when they say it's right here, right? Because I'm not going to Mississippi anytime soon. So that's would be preferable. Okay. Tornado Alley has shifted east from the plains, a new study says. Let's take a look at this. I think this is referencing the same study we looked at, but for posterity's sake, I always want to say prosperity, not the same thing. For posterity's sake, let's go ahead and watch their YouTube video and see what they have to say.
The country we've always called Tornado Alley. But a new study says this map is actually more accurate. The new focus for tornadoes has moved about 500 miles to the southeast into Mississippi. We're seeing fewer tornadoes form in the spring in the plains at what is thought to be the peak of severe weather season. More tornadoes are forming in the cooler months in the south in what used to be the secondary peak of tornado season.
Fucking ads. Okay.
So today we have that possibility again for some of these stronger thunderstorms to blow through, maybe rocket on through is what I should say, coming along both I-10 and I-20. Everything is going to.
I think that's just a weather thing. That was saying there. Gives us that same map right there. We already seen that. And tornado genesis events. So this is where it's decreased. It's gone down, and most in that area, and gone up most in those areas. So Tennessee is still kind of getting it. We're still kind of getting our asses kicked there. That's not a bummer. Seasonal changes too. There have also been important changes in when tornadoes occur. Tornadoes have trended away from summer towards fall and winter. Oh, cough. Oh. Gosh. Summer tornadoes were 37% fewer from 86 to 2020 than in the previous 35-year period. This summer reduction was most pronounced in the plains, including parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. But the largest increases occurred in fall and winter. Fall went up 80%, winter went up 102%. That's a lot. And primarily in the southeast, where they're most common that time of year. The study also found the spring tornado maximum areas have spread through parts of mid-Mississippi and lower Ohio, valleys in the deep south, instead of focused only in the southern plains. And I'm imagining a tornado genesis event by season. Okay. I don't know what all these MAM means. What does any of that mean? I don't know. I'm not going to look into it to figure it out. A is spring, B is summer, C autumn, D winter. Okay. And what are that's the decreases in tornadoes, increases. Okay. Yeah. Well, so there you go. Pretty conclusive evidence, yeah. Average tornadoes by month. Looks like April to June. That's where the good stuff is. That's where you want to go visit your relatives in Oklahoma, right there. Okay, so it looks like pretty conclusive evidence, right? Yeah, I mean, we got graphs here. These are some pretty convincing graphs. I mean, they're pretty well done. That one, pretty professional. I'm having a hard time arguing against this right here, right? Looks like they did all their homework, colored it in and everything. But there is people that do say, not a lot of people, I didn't say there was a lot of people, but there is people that say none of this is true. This is all bullshit. Tornado Alley is not shifting. You're all just stupid. That's what Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier says. Tornado Alley hasn't moved east, but tornado activity is expanding. The heart of Tornado Alley still lies in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas. But more tornadoes are being reported further east. In 2024 alone, Ohio had 74 tornadoes, the most in state history, and Indiana saw its second highest total ever. This doesn't mean Tornado Alley shifted. It means the danger zone is growing. Stay alert, stay prepared, and don't buy into the myth that the plains are in the clear. We're just seeing an expansion, not a relocation. Okay, so his beef is the rest of y'all don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. I've recently been reading about it. Oh, Ryan over here. He's a reader. He reads. Okay, Ryan. He says, it seems like it's more east in general. And chief meteorologist said Oklahoma had record tornadoes last year. Oh, well, that's pretty good. Okay, and then Ryan comes back. He claps back. He says, does cold air always have to be coming in from the west for us to get tornadoes in Oklahoma specifically? I guess the colder air must be coming in different or something. It's super interesting. Oh, okay. Let's see. Hey. So did Tennessee. Yeah. Tennessee had record tornadoes. Both the red and yellow portions of the map are the new tornado alley. Because at the western end in Colorado, we're still pretty stormy. Okay. Oklahoma will always have a lot of tornadoes, but hasn't it been busy further east because of La Nina? And we had a bad year last year due to El Nino. Oh. Interesting. So these people say it has something to do with La Nina and La Nino. El Nino. I thought it was El Nino. Yeah, El Nino and La Nina. So we're bypassing the neutral period and going headfirst into another El Nino then. Well, dang. I was hoping for a small break, if there is even such a thing here in Oklahoma. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that, Kim. Sorry. That's kind of what you get when you move to Oklahoma, though. You got to be prepared for that. The false information shared by misinformed commenters on she said along that's so many other weather pages I follow is insane. These fucking misinformers. Well, I mean, chill out, Amy. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, cough. Man. Okay, Mississippi has always been Tornado Alley. It just shifted west for the past 40 years. Now it's back. Oh, Lori here. She knows what's up. Well, excuse us, Lori. You seem to know what's going on. Mississippi never stopped getting him. Here's the number since 1994. Cody coming in with the numbers. Look at this guy. I don't know. What are we looking at? Number of tornadoes, year, direct injury, direct fatality, property damage. 2008. I don't know why that's highlighted, but number of tornadoes. Wow. Oh, all together. Okay. 90, 70, 2022, 186, 147, 186, 2022. Looks like that's the biggest year here. Well, they never stopped getting tornadoes, but I mean, come on. You have all through the early 2000s, you have nothing even close to the hundreds. 75 is the closest right there. And then now, look at these last few years. 90, 188, 186, 115, 147, I guess right there, it kind of goes back to being normal. Yeah, that's interesting. I do like it when people sit and chat like this. And kind of throw out their information. Tornado Alley, right, y'all? Dixie Alley. Hey, look at me. I'm free in the clear up here. Carolina Alley. Y'all got just a whole alley to yourselves over there. That's a bummer. And then Hosier Alley. Y'all got a really shitty name for it, too. Hosier Alley. Is this happening because of chemtrails? I see people talking about HARP 2. It's just weird. And we got a bunch of little laughy faces. It is caused by global warming. If you believe it is natural or human, because it doesn't matter. The evidence is the planet is warming and causing established weather patterns to become unstable. The polar vortex usually stays north, but due to more extreme temperature gradient, it is causing cold air to dip further south and warmer air to move further up north, yada, yada, yada. The key ingredient for tornadic weather, it sounds too close to tantric weather, is warm, moist air with warmer temperatures in northern states during spring. He gets a bunch of laughy faces. I feel like anybody who's in here being like, well, actually, you're going to get a bunch of laughy faces. I don't get on Facebook often. I forget that it's even a thing, to be honest. It was such a big deal back in the day. Do yourself a gigantic favor and realize anyone seriously discussing those subjects is a wackaloon. A wackaloon. Haven't heard that one yet. Thank you, and you are perfectly ignorant. Well, he had to kind of expect somebody was going to throw down like that when you're calling people stupid or whatever. Unfortunately, you would be right. Meteorologists are not going to admit it. Hey, get out my face. You mean contrails, and no. Brain dead idiocy. I think you forgot a smooth-brained buzzword. Did you want to add something about a flat earth? I don't even know who he's responding to, but it was funny. One of the worst outbreaks ever was in the Ohio Valley in 1974. Tornadoes happened with the right setup and with the Gulf of Mexico, not America. Oh, well, excuse me, all the hell. Geez, this guy takes it personally. The U.S. is the #1 country in the world for tornadoes. This isn't new. I don't think anyone said it was, bud. Tornadoes go in highs and lows. We are about to see the most traditional tornado alley, see more storms than the East has had earlier this year. The truth is that almost every area of the country can see tornadoes. Yeah. Well, Dan here, he knows the truth. And he's really upset about that renaming of the Gulf of Mexico. But anyways, we'll let Dan Sentence do about it. I do enjoy these conversations, though, not just because everybody's just like, you know, y'all can have a conversation about tornadoes and still be pissing on each other's leg. It really is enjoyable to see. Social media, you know, I oscillate in between feeling like social media is the worst thing that ever happened and it is the most enjoyable thing that ever happened, right? Because some days I see y'all just bitching at each other over the silliest shit, and I'm like, guys, gosh, come on, this is not a good look. This is bad for all of us mentally. And then other times I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. This is exactly what I needed today, was to see a bunch of people getting pissed off at each other over fucking tornadoes, of all things, you know? I mean, you guys could have a conversation about, I don't know, pick it, cute little bunny rabbits, and you would be throwing fucking shit in each other's face. It's pretty entertaining. But so that's that guy. I forgot his name. We need to go back. Mike Collier, chief meteorologist, says that no, it is not a shift. It is just expanding. So that's, you know, take it for what it is. Okay. You know, Mike over here is a meteorologist. They call him Meteorologist Mike. And he definitely, you know, has more expertise than I do, but it's good to know. It's always, you know, it's good to look up alternate opinions on these sorts of things. Yeah. Just to see what other people are saying is all. It's not that big of a deal. Just to, you know, see if anybody else has other information that could enlighten the issue. And Mike wasn't the only person I found that said that Tornado Alley isn't shifting. Y'all are just being cray-cray. It's, you know, it's just getting bigger. That's all. That's all. It's just we're getting more tornadoes everywhere. It's no big deal. It's just fucking us all over now. But there was other people who said that, but they all said the same thing. So, they, you know, and unfortunately, none of them were actually giving me studies. So I only have Mike here. Mike's the only guy I got, Meteorologist Mike. He's the only fella here that I rely on because nobody else was actually giving any images. You know, they weren't putting in the nice little pictures like everybody else was. But it seems as though it's either shifting. Tornado Alley either shifted from yaw to yaw, or it's just expanded from yaw to yaw. And then now North Carolina over here, they're all fucked. They got their own little alley that's formed. And then what was the Hosier Alley in Indiana? Y'all got your own little thing happening too. So bummer for you. Okay, but the reason that I thought to bring up this subject and talk about it, not just because my family member warned me that, you know, you just bought a house in the new Tornado Alley, so good luck with that. Hope it works out. It was because, yeah, in 2025, in March, we had some gnarly-ass tornado action going around all over America. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I just thought I'd bring up the Wikipedia to refresh your memory. Here is the stats on these. I mean, we had tornadoes 14th and 15th, there was numerous tornadoes. Let's look if they give us the number. Oh, I think the number is lower down here. It's down here. But yeah, we had tornadoes in Arkansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and more Missouri. And from yaw to yaw. Yep. You know how it goes. And then more in Arkansas, more in Missouri, Mississippi getting it. And let's see, and even California got fucked a little bit with heavy snowfall. Oh, wow. In Sierra Nevada. Oh, okay. Well, you know. And here's the impacts. Okay, so Alabama had, in 2 days, this was 3 deaths, multiple injuries. Arkansas, 3 deaths. Kansas, 8. Mississippi, 6. Missouri, 12. Oklahoma, 4. Texas, 4. North Carolina, 2. Total of 43 deaths. And let's see. Did they give us how many total tornadoes there was? Because it was pretty crazy, man. I remember when this happened in March. If any of you were living in this area, you'll probably remember it. In Tennessee, it wasn't like that tornado that came through, and I think it was 2020. Really messed up the eastern Nashville was just brutalized. It was absolutely crazy when that happened. But we still had a whole bunch going down in Tennessee. Nobody died, thank goodness. But I don't think it's going to tell me how many tornadoes we have, and I'm not going to like sift through the entire article to find out. So we gone over, what Tornado Alley was. There it is. And what they say it is now. Right over here, okay? Tornado Alley essentially just shifted over to Dixie Alley, is what some people are claiming. Other people are claiming, a smaller amount of people are claiming, not everybody, but a few people are claiming, no, it's just gotten bigger. But we did look at the data that proved there's way more tornadoes in this area than they've ever had in the last 35 years. And same over here, there's less tornadoes happening than ever. Mr. Meteorologist Mike said that's not true. He said that's bullshit. But that's just, that's Mike, all right? Who knows about Mike, right? Mike might smoke a lot of weed, and that's why he says that. But now we're going to get to the entertaining part of the stream, right? I mean, I think all that's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty entertaining, but it's not as entertaining as actual videos of tornadoes, right? Right? That's what everybody tunes in for, right? Show me some tornadoes, bitch. Oh, yeah, before we get that, I have a really sad video to show you. I'm going to make you cry, and then I'll give you the good stuff. This is the aftermath of those March tornadoes, right? So pretty crazy shit. If you don't remember or you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. They even give you the sad music right out the bat.
We have
They're like,
three
look,
confirmed active
that was someone's
tornadoes.
couch, you guys.
3 active tornadoes right now.
Getting reports of damage in Cave City.
Wow. Oof. Damn.
This is serious. We're getting damage reports out of Paragould.
Ooh, man. That looked like a nice house, too. Look at that archway. I would kill for that archway.
A lot of damage across Region 8 tonight.
Oh, man. That's too bad.
This is bad. We've got a lot
That's a nice
of
house,
damage
too.
out there.
Then they put their logo up. Okay. So,
Booking
just to get you teary-eyed.
Download Kayak's app and set a price.
Get out my face. It probably shifted because of the leap year that was last year. Well, it could have, be honest. I'm not a tornado-ologist there, Cutie Pie. They did say, if you were listening to those people bitching at each other on Facebook, one of them said, I guess last year was La Nina. Well, nobody accused you of being a tornado expert either. But those people on Facebook were saying that La Nina was last year. So that might have, that's what they said, have something to do. Again, that was people on Facebook, right? They're just as much of an expert as you and me are, I'll go with you, though, Cutie Pie. Always default to whatever Cutie Pie says. That's my motto. So we're going to go with leap year. You idiots. How did you not know that? Duh. Fucking leap year. Okay. So let's see. Early April tornado outbreak spawned EF3s. Remember we went over the rating system? Here, let me pull that back up. What was that? F3. The Vegeta system. Yeah, they really missed a big golden opportunity with that, right? Tornado systems. Could have called it the Vegeta system. That would have been super cool. Vegeta. It's close enough. Close enough. The Vegeta system. So F3, severe tornado, 206 miles per hour. Severe damage, roofs, some walls torn off, well-constructed houses, trains overturned. Oh no, they got our trains. And most trees and forests uprooted. Heavy cars lifted off the ground and thrown. So this was in April of 2025, yeah? Pop over here. Hello. So yeah, April of 2025. 40 twisters. That's what I was going to look up. I should have done it before the stream, but I didn't think to. tornadoes versus twisters, right? Because there's a difference according to the movie, right? And movies never lie. So, oh, it's the same thing. Okay, fine. Well, fuck you, Microsoft. Tornadoes and twisters are essentially the same thing. The term tornado is the scientific term used by scientists and meteorologists, while twister is the slang term for tornadoes, all right? Hey, what's going on, Bundy? How you doing today? I haven't seen you in a while because I swapped to doing 11 a.m. streams, you know, so you're always at work when I was streaming. So it's nice to see you back, man. Hope you had a good day at work. You coming in to get some of Cutie Pie's, more of her gumbo? I keep wanting to call it fucking the other thing. But yeah, her gumbo. Yeah, it was a long day at work today. Yeah, well, if you ain't home yet, you should swing by and get some more gumbo, man. That's it, jambalaya. I always get it confused with jambalaya. I get it confused with jambalaya, and then I can't even remember what the fucking name of the thing is I get it confused with. So yeah, there you go. Tornadoes and twisters are the exact same. So, as it turns out, that's a bummer. Well, at least I know now. That saves me from embarrassing myself if I'm ever in a conversation with somebody. I don't pop up like, actually, like meteorologist Mike, and end up looking like a dumbass. So 150 twisters confirmed in the South and Midwest. This was in April, which was pretty crazy. We'll pop this down. Let's take a watch.
Because we're still here.
I'm going to swap back here. Ooh, Wingstop. Wingstop is good. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, Cutie Pie's jambalaya, or her gumbo, is pretty amazing. But Wingstop is nice. Wingstop is good. Yeah, that's a good choice.
We're still here.
A family in New Albany, Mississippi is lucky to be alive after a tree fell on their home during a tornado that struck on Saturday. A resident of the home described the ordeal, which happened quickly as they scrambled for safety.
My son and husband and my husband's friend were
Him and
on
his
the back
friend.
patio watching, and I ran in there to tell them to y'all come on. And the pressure from the tornado
Y'all
was just,
come
I couldn't
on.
even get the door open good. And all I could think is my son standing behind him and my husband from the other side. They're not down here yet. And finally the door just swung open and he was able to come through. My son came through and then my husband, and you could just feel the wind and the pressure off of
The
it.
wind.
Thankfully, the family is unharmed after such an intense experience. The storm
That's pretty
uprooted
crazy.
trees
Look at that.
around
Ooh.
New Albany, and several other homes and outbuildings were destroyed or damaged.
Yep. Tornadoes will do that. Them damn tornadoes. Okay. The National Weather Service confirmed 150 occurred in a 6-day period. Wow. Just over 60% of those did so from April 2nd into the early morning of April 3rd. Maybe this was that night that, because you were here, Cutie Pie, in April. So that might have been the night that I had 5 tornadoes go over the house. Let's pop back over here. Indiana led the way with 22 tornadoes in that Hoser Alley, followed by Mississippi with 20, Arkansas and Tennessee with 18, and Illinois with 17. Wow. In addition to tornadoes, there were over 870 reports of large hail, severe thunderstorm wind gusts, and damage. Over a 24-hour period, the National Weather Service issued 728 severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings. Yeah, I think this is the day we're talking about, because look at that. I think we're right there. Well, that's only 2. We had like 5 in one go. It's just pew, 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 pew. Stronger tornadoes. Of those, 40 were categorized as strong tornadoes that produced at least F2 damage on the enhanced Fujita scale, from which tornadoes are rated. Yeah, we know that. We're all up to date on that, my guy. In southeast Missouri, an F3 tornado damaged or destroyed homes near the town of Laddie, about 55 miles southwest of St. Louis. Ooh, yep. I don't know what that's supposed to be a picture of, like a home was there. Looks like a foundation. Oh, geez. Another F3 tornado demolished homes in Lake City and Monet, Arkansas, about 50 miles northwest of Memphis. And just after midnight, an F3 tornado embedded in a line of severe thunderstorms carved a 10-mile-long path through the eastern side of Louisville, Kentucky metro area. Yeah, when you're in Kentucky, it's important to pronounce that Louisville. Okay, if you're up in Kentucky and you say Louisville or Louisville, everybody up there will get all upset with their accent and be like, it's Louisville, Kentucky. It's like, oh, Jesus, okay. Fuck me all to hell. Louisville, fine. Since 1950, the only other tornado to receive that high a rating in Jefferson County was an F4 during the April 3rd, 1974 super outbreak. 2 other F3 tornadoes struck after midnight in Tennessee, Selmer, Tennessee, I'm not sure where that's at, and Sladen, Mississippi, and Grand Junction, Tennessee. I don't know where that's at neither. One of the largest tracks of this outbreak was a 49-mile-long tornado, which was an F2 from southeast Illinois to Terre Haute, Indiana. Jeez. So that was all just in April. So that was the second really big April, March. That was the first, right? I got to count my months out on my hand. Sue me. So April and March of this year, we had 2 really big, nasty outbreaks of tornadoes, right? And so this is where all of these big numbers for this southern, the Dixie Alley, this area right here, this is where all those big numbers come from. It's just those 2 outbreaks. So it's technically just a 4-day, two-day spans, 4 days total, that added up to the most tornadoes that Dixie Alley has ever seen, to where now this year we're beating the pants off of old school Tornado Alley. They got to get them numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Okay, so let's check out some of these tornadoes. Some of these are from that area or that time frame, and some of them are just crazy tornado videos, and because you can't go wrong with tornado videos. The most insane tornado footage ever captured. Well, we'll be the judge of that. That is pretty crazy. I can't hear what he's saying, but I can hear his accent enough to know where they're generally at in the U.S.
Logan, it's racing south. We gotta parallel it.
Ooh. Man, that would suck to be in that house.
Horizontal vortices. It's a wobbler.
Yeah, that's pretty ominous. It's driving right towards it. Man, that's huge. That was a big-ass tornado. Damn. Oh.
Wix gives you the freedom to tell.
Don't care about all that. Let's go back. When was this? 9 months ago? I don't think this is just random twisters. But that's pretty good. What channel is this? Reed Timmer. Must be tornado, one of them tornado watcher fellas. Give him a thumbs up. And let's see. This was this from Nebraska during the Arbor Day outbreak, an F3. So this is a big one. Arbor Day outbreak, clockwise spinning, slender rope tornado. Okay, let's check it out.
This week's top 3 tornadoes caught on camera will leave you absolutely speechless. Number 3, the Arbor Day outbreak near Lincoln, Nebraska on April 26, 2024. Watch as this monstrous EF3 tornado barrels across the interstate like a living wall of wind and debris. This thing didn't just touch down, it owned the landscape. Captured near Waverly, this tornado reminds us just how quickly nature can flip from calm to catastrophic. High-speed rotation, this is textbook planes destruction. Number 2, and this one's a meteorological unicorn. North of Lockney, Texas, a clockwise spinning tornado known as anticyclonic. Most tornadoes in the northern hemisphere spin counterclockwise due to the Coriolis effect. But not this beast. Spinning the wrong...
The Coriolis effect. I think that's the thing why toilet bowls always spin to the right when they flush in the US, and then they always spin to the left when they flush down south, like in Australia. Or I could be just making that up. That might have been something I like heard on Rick and Morty. But I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Like, it's a scientific thing.
Long way and filmed in stunning clarity. This rare phenomenon proves Mother Nature doesn't always follow her own rules. And number one, possibly the most hypnotic and terrifying tornado you'll ever see. A slender rope tornado twisting like a coiled serpent in the sky. The driver going straight toward it. Would you? Comment below. Run for your life or capture the shot of a life.
Okay, well, there you go. Let's see. This is the one I'm looking for. So, this is in Clarksville, right up the road from where I'm at. Just a little bit of ways from Nashville. I'm pretty sure this is the one where it's a tornado ripping through town, and motherfuckers are just driving. They're just driving right through it. Like, oh, yeah, that's a tornado. Let's go check it out, son.
This is the incredible dash cam moment. A man got caught in a deadly tornado while driving.
Ooh, yeah.
25-year-old Cameron McNeil was in Clarksville, Tennessee when the severe storm worsened around him. McNeil says his car was totally totaled.
Totally totaled. Oh.
Winds reached 240 kilometers per hour as multiple tornadoes tore through Tennessee and Kentucky.
Okay, he just turns around to drive right through it.
At least 6 people died, dozens were injured, and thousands were left without power.
He's just going for it, too. He's just driving. Everybody else stopped. He's like, fuck this. How much you want to bet that kid was stoned? He was high as fuck. They stopped him. Like, he swirled around, drove through it, and then was like, oh, yeah, man, my car was totally totaled, bruh. That was pretty crazy, though. I do like that video. That's entertaining. Where would it be without stoners doing stupid shit and videotaping it? So, this is... want to give you a little more info on tornadoes. So, this is kind of an important thing here, right? So, when are tornadoes most likely? And the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. For those of you who live in tornado land, it's pretty wide now. So let's listen back. Let's read about it. Oh, let me pop over here. Okay. Tornado season usually refers to the time of year in the U.S. Tornado season usually refers to the time of the year the U.S. sees the most tornadoes. There we go. We got it. The peak tornado season for the Southern Plains, which is Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, is from May into early June. On the Gulf Coast, it is earlier in the spring. In the Northern Plains and Upper Midwest, which is North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, tornado season is in June or July. But remember, tornadoes can happen at any time of the year. Tornadoes can also happen at any time of day, but most occur between 4 and 9 p.m. So, yes, good to know. What is the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning? So, a tornado watch is issued by the NOAA Storm Prediction Center, meteorologists who watch the weather 24/7 across the U.S., get on my face, for weather conditions that are favorable for tornadoes and severe weather. A watch can cover parts of a state or several states. Watch and prepare yourself for severe weather and stay tuned to this radio station to know when warnings are issued. So, this is just when weather conditions are favorable for tornadoes, right? So watch out because tornado might form here. Yeah. Tornado warning is issued by the same group of people, meteorologists who watch the weather 24/7 over a designated area. This means a tornado has been reported by spotters or indicated by radar, and there is a serious threat to life and property to those in the path of the tornado. So that's what happened to us. Cutie Pie, we got 5 tornado warnings, one right after the other, 30 minutes apiece in one night. A tornado warning indicates that you should act now to find safe shelter, which I didn't do. All right, sue me. I totally went outside and watched for it. I lit up a ciggy and went out on my deck and watched it. So did all the neighbors, though. I went out and even old Bob was out there standing there. He's old. Bob's old, you know, and he was out there at like 3 a.m. watching for that tornado. And you were sleeping safe and sound in bed. A warning can cover parts of counties or several counties in the path of danger. So, there you have it. tornado warnings. All the Bobs were out. All three of them. I got 3 Bobs that live on my street, and every single Bob was out watching this guy. And the neighbors up this way, who I don't know who they are. They don't seem like they talk to anybody, which is fine by me. I already have 3 Bobs I have to fucking talk to, so that's more Bobs than I need for a lifetime. But yeah, so tornado watch, tornado warning, there is a difference, pretty big difference. Tornado warning means you should probably act, even if that means just go out on your deck, smoke a cigarette, and watch to see if you can see it. You know, tornado watch means you're fine, just stay indoors. If it turns into a warning, you know, then you got some trouble. How do they form? We kind of already know that. We went over that. We're educated on tornado forming. We know a lot about it. So these are the websites that I use whenever I get a tornado warning or a tornado watch on my phone. I pop up these specific websites that I'm going to show you that are very helpful for anybody who's in a situation where a tornado might be around. So the first is Tornado HQ Live. So Tornado HQ, we got live updates happening right now. It gives you live updates all across the US, and you can click on it, click on this little dealie, scoop, 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 and it looks like these right here, severe thunderstorm warnings, right? So tornado is one. We got 2 tornado warnings that are happening right now. Hey, look at that. One's close to Nashville. How funny is that? Scoop, scoop, scoop. Here, let's expand. So we got a tornado warning at 7:17 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles east of Parsons or 9 miles northeast of Linden, moving east at 25 miles per hour. Radar indicated. So it tells you the whole thing. You can get the whole warning text that they send out to everybody, right, to make sure it's the one you got. That's the tornado that they're talking about. And then it gives you these nice little things here. See, approximate location in 15 minutes from when it was announced. So when you first get the warning, this is where it's spotted. Okay, and it'll tell you the time. Approximate location, the date, and then it gives you the time, 1700 to 0500, right? Then here's going to be in 15 minutes from that time, 30 minutes from that time. Listen, little hands, clicked on the thing. There it is. 45 minutes from that time. And little hands, quit fucking with me. Okay, well, and that's an hour. Okay, my little hand cursor is being a dick about it. There it is. Right there. So here we are. We're over here in Nashville. So this is a ways away from us. This is where it's going to be in an hour. And if it continues past that point, you'll get more little dots. That'll send you where it's going to be out over meow, meow, meow. Oh, Parsons. Is that anywhere near? Let's get rid of these clouds. I'm pretty sure we can get rid of all this shit because it's covering what I needed to. I think, is it this button? There it is. Okay. So see, how nice is that, right? And then you can actually see where everything is. Dixon is right there. Okay, so my buddy lives up there in Dixon, and tornadoes not anywhere close to him, but they do have thunderstorms. This is a thunderstorm warning. You can click on it. Severe thunderstorm warning. So we're nice and cozy over where we're at. But as you can see, the functionality of this is pretty nice, pretty streamlined, pretty hard to fuck up, pretty easy to time out where the tornado is going to be. When that tornado came over my house, we had 5 of them. We had these little red blocks. There was just 5 of them right in the same spot, and every single line of dots went over our house. If my house is right here on this little airplane right here, all of these dots went right over the top of it in 30-minute intervals. So, but it's good to know. You can time that shit out and figure out what's going on. Got a burp, fuck. Oh, it was a little baby burp. It felt bigger, though. That felt like a monster burp. But a little teeny baby one. Okay, so Tornado HQ, really good resource for if you're ever in a tornado situation. This is another one, Tornado Maps Live. It's not, I don't use this one as much, but I still pull it up. And let's see, you can do the same thing uncheck all of this, get it out of here, get it out of here, get you out of here. This gives you multiple. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. It was pretty wild. I wasn't. Yeah, butthole wasn't clenched up yet entirely. It was like halfway there. I was halfway clenched, but I didn't want to like freak out and then wake up Patani and then have her shitting bricks the whole night if nothing happens. If I like looked up in the air and there was a tornado, then I was like, okay, I'm going to wake her up and we're going to go get the truck and we're going to go drive our asses to somewhere where there is no tornado. But in the meantime, I'm just going to chill and act like nothing's going on. So, but this website is really nice because it gives you warnings from all these different places, right? That's nice, but you don't really need all that. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's satellite imagery right there that we just clicked out of. But yeah, if you want to see USA short-term weather warnings, tornado warnings, that's the NOAA. There's our tornado warning again that we got. Yeah, I don't know. It was, well, maybe sleeping. Well, sleeping or out partying in a club because it was like 2 to 3 a.m. So you had to have been doing one or the other. Depends on what day of the week it was. So this one's nice. So you can just pick one. The thing is, you don't need all of these warnings because I think a lot of them are in different areas of the world and they have different, like this one is just severe events we're warning, right? And you can click on the little arrow and it'll tell you what the severe event is. But yeah. Yeah, and the thing is you probably don't remember it because nothing touched down. It was warning after warning after warning all through Nashville. And it wasn't just our part of Nashville. There was other warnings in other parts of Nashville. It was like total, and they were warnings, not watches. So it was the real deal as far as like the little thing goes. I mean, the warning it sent on my phone was like essentially like, go for cover, you're gonna fucking die. Like it was as serious as it could be, and it was going out all over Nashville. But it was like 2, 3 in the morning and nothing did ever touch down. I think a couple touchdown, but it was way out in the country where nothing got fucked up. So, there was like one news report the next day. Again, like I was talking about earlier in the stream, when most of the people in Tennessee who have lived out here, to them it's like, oh, whatever, like, oh, it's a tornado, I don't really care, they see a tornado touchdown and they're like, god damn it, I'm gonna have to take a whole nother route to the mall now, fuck, it's an inconvenience. They're not freaking out over it, like hurricanes in Hawaii. I talk to Cutie Pie about hurricanes and she's like, oh yeah, they're not that bad, it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, what? It's a hurricane, it's throwing water at you, it's gonna drown your ass, it's like picking up the sharks and hucking it at you. That's terrifying. Have you seen Sharknado? Fuck that. So yeah, anyways, here's Tornado Maps Live. This is a really good one. And all this will be linked in the description of the YouTube video. So if you are in a place where you get a lot of tornadoes, you can click on this, pop it up, save it on your computer. I have it saved on my laptop. So whenever I get a tornado warning, I just click on it. It's live updated. This one is kind of cool because you click on this and then you can see what's all happening with everybody else. Ooh, that's not cool. Don't do that. No, don't care about the ocean. See what's over here. Like what's all up with Nevada? What's fucking Nevada up right now? Bright pink. But see, they have so many colors. It's kind of hard to know. Yeah, it can't be a hurricane watch. They ain't getting a hurricane watch in Utah. I can tell you that. I don't know a lot about Utah, but they ain't getting that there. Red flag warning. See, I don't even know what the hell that is. What's a red flag warning? Over here in Utah and Nevada, I guess. And then, see, this is a bummer because it's like, you don't even know. Oh, I guess you could probably, yeah, you can click on it. Red flag warning. There it is. Okay. Red flag warning for strong winds. Oh, pansies. Strong winds. Yeah, right. They need to go live out in Wyoming. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. That's a light breeze in Wyoming. Give me a break. Oh, nasty human noises. Sucking up all that snot. You. And This is all thunderstorm warnings. So that's kind of cool. You can click on it and see what's fucking up everybody else in the world. Tornado warning just outside of, in between Memphis and Nashville. What's over here? This little red dot, flash flood warning. So they're getting flooded out. What's happening in Louisiana? Flood warning. Yeah, per usual. Flood warning. Yeah. Get rid of all them nasty ass cockroaches down there. More floods. Thunderstorms. So yeah, nothing too crazy happening. I guess they got another tornado. That's a special marine warning. What's a marine warning? They got Marines landing here. Gonna fuck everybody up. This is severe thunderstorms located along a line. Okay, so marine warning. Wind gusts exceeding 50 knots. Boats could suffer significant structural damage. So if you got a boat in Ohio, get that shit out of there. But yeah, and then there was a, I could have sworn there was a tornado warning in Ohio right now. So all you Ohioans, there it is. Tornado warning. Yep, in Ohio. So anyways, that's how this website works. It's a pretty convenient website. It's just, you want to go through, uncheck everything, check the right things that you want, because some of these aren't live updates and some of them are. Like if we click down in here, let's get up in the nitty gritty over here. Here, scoot, scoot, scoot. Yeah, see, it doesn't give you it gives you a bit of a better map. It's kind of easier to read. Dixon's there, easy to find. Nashville, Mount Juliet, kind of easier to find, actually. It's kind of easier for me on the other map because I'm so used to it. But you get counties, at least, I guess. But it doesn't give you this particular warning, the USA NOAA tornado warnings, short-term weather warning. See, that's not a live update. It's just telling you this is where the area where a tornado has been spotted. And, if you live in this area, clench your butt cheeks. So you want to make sure you click on the right thing over here if you're using this website. Just a forewarning. Let's zoom out. Okay, so there you go. That's another good, convenient website to have, though. I do prefer Tornado HQ just because of that timing that it has, where you can time it out so I know when I should, be worried about shit happening. So lastly, thought I'd throw up. It's crazy. Lastly, gosh, this was a really short stream. I ran through all that way too quickly. I guess I didn't. This is the first time I've set up a stream that was too short. I almost always end up setting up streams that are too long. So we erred on the side of caution this time and done fucked it up. But tornado warning safety messages. So here's just a couple good things to know, right? I would be remiss if I brought up tornadoes, did a whole, I guess, hour and a half stream mostly on tornadoes and didn't give you some good information on how to protect yourself from a tornado, right? So good idea, things to note if you're ever in a tornado. Here's some safety protocols to follow. 1, know where to take shelter. Your family could be anywhere where a tornado strikes, at home, at work, at school, or in the car. Discuss with your family where the best tornado shelters are and how family members can protect themselves from flying and falling debris. So you ever get a tornado warning, it's good to locate where the good tornado shelters would be. The key to surviving a tornado and reducing the risk of injury lies in planning and preparing in practice what you and your family will do if a tornado strikes. Flying debris causes the most deaths and injuries during a tornado. Although there is no completely safe place during tornado, some locations are much safer than others. Conveniently, they're not going to tell us what those are right there. Anywhere that's much more structurally sound, the more you're surrounded by concrete. We have a tornado room in the house I grew up in Wyoming. My dad built a tornado room, and he has a tornado shelter in this house now in Oklahoma. Our tornado room in Wyoming, because they don't build tornado shelters underground in Wyoming, they build them a big, giant-ass concrete room with thick-ass concrete and rebar and metal top so nothing can fly off the top. But a big room where you are just surrounded in concrete. And the idea is it's stuck in the ground. It's going to be real hard for the tornado to pick it up and take it with it. And if the tornado flings something at you, like a car, if a car hits, your concrete room, it might go through and fuck you up. So bad example. But if it throws something, if you're standing out there, right, and a tornado flings a cup at your head, not like a paper cup, although a paper cup could probably do some damage, poke you in the eye at least, that would be a bummer. But, throws a porcelain cup at your face, it's going to fucking probably kill you, I mean, if a tornado's flinging at 200-mile winds, flinging a cup at you, that's going to be that's going to be the end of you. You're going to get cupped in the face and you're dead as shit, So, but if you're in a concrete room, you ain't got to worry about them porcelain cups or none of that shit. If it throws a whole ass car at you, you're probably going to be fucked, But it decreases the chance of something flying through the air and just whopping you right in the face, or in the dick or anywhere else you don't want to get hit with nothing, And then stops the tornado from picking you up or anything you're in, right? So you hear people always talk about get in the bathtub. And I've never understood that one. That one, a tornado can pick up your bathtub. It'll pick your bathtub up, it'll just pick it right up. You know what I'm saying? But usually being surrounded with something that isn't like wood, being in a wood building is a bummer. Don't do that, because wood is obviously easy for the tornado to rip down and easy for shit to fly through the wall and come and hit your ass, But anything underground is a great idea too, right? So anything underground or as close to the ground as you can get is equally an awesome idea. So bunkers underground is what they do in Oklahoma. You got a little hatch you open up and you go under there and just shut the metal hatch. It locks. It's got a big old lock on it. And then the top of it is all cement. Okay. And it's a big metal ass room under a big ass cement pad. So if anything falls on top of it, it ain't going to come through, and hit you, and then the tornado ain't going to pick. It's possible, but it most likely isn't going to pick a whole ass thing out of the ground, right? So that's the safest. Anything you can get to underground, if you have an underground cellar, that's a good place to be. But if you can get a concrete room with anything reinforced walls, no glass, no windows, obviously nothing that can come flying. Wood is also not very good. I got a tiny little crawl space under my stairs that the whole thing's concrete. You look around and you got the concrete beams and concrete floor, and I got 2 levels of the house above me. It's still not the best, because if the house comes flying over the top of me, then I'm just going to be stuck in a little concrete room with an open, looking right at the tornado, and then if they decide to, if the tornado decides to throw a car at my ass while I'm under there, it just can come through the stairs. The stairs aren't concrete, so it's not the best, but it's close to the ground, concrete on all sides, and that is better than nothing. It's better than being in any other room in the house where you got sliding glass doors and no concrete walls, So anywhere where you can get surrounded by concrete, mostly just for the shielding you, and close to ground so the tornado can't pick your ass up, right? So number 2, if you're at home, pick a place in the home where family members can gather. One basic rule is avoid windows. Like I already told you, exploding windows can injure or kill. The safest place in a home is the interior part of a basement. If there is no basement, go to an inside room without windows on the lowest floor. This could be a center hallway, bathroom, or a closet. For added protection, get under something sturdy, such as a heavy table or workbench. If possible, cover your body with a blanket, sleeping bag, or mattress, and protect your head with anything available, even your hands. Avoid taking shelter where there are heavy objects, such as pianos or refrigerators, on the area of the floor that is directly above you. They could fall through the floor if the tornado strikes your home. Yeah, that's good advice. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, don't go hiding, you got a tornado or you got a piano in the room above you. Don't go hiding underneath it, right? 3, do not stay in a mobile home manufactured prior to 1976 during a tornado. Oh, well, I did not know that. Mobile homes built before 1976 are particularly vulnerable to high winds. Oh, and it doesn't tell us why. Well, they're shittily made. We'll just go with that. So 4, the least desirable place to be during a tornado is a motor vehicle. Cars, buses, and trucks are easily tossed by tornado winds. Remember, that kind of depends on how big the tornado is, right? Because if it's one of these little weenie baby tornadoes, F0, it's not going to do too much damage. You'll be fine in a car. F1, the thing is you don't know by looking at it, right? Unless you're a tornado expert like my cutie pie, you ain't going to be able to look at the tornado and be like, yep, that's an F2. You see it in the movies all the time. They're like, it's an F3, and they're shouting in the wind. Philip Seymour Hoffman, that's an F5 right there. They don't know. The actual grading of it happens after the fact, right? So interesting little tidbit there. But F2, let's see, moving autos can be blown off of roads. So F1 looks like that's about a bummer. If you got a big car, you might make it, but I wouldn't recommend it. F2 is where now cars are going to get lifted off the ground, so you don't want to be in a car during an F2 tornado. So that's a no-go, right? But yeah, generally don't want to be in your car at all, okay? Do not try to outrun a tornado in your car. Oh, that's a bummer. See, somebody should have told that stoner earlier. If you see a tornado, stop your vehicle and get out. Do not get under your vehicle. Follow the directions for seeking shelter outdoors. Yeah, I never understood that piece of advice too that we used to hear back in the day, that now it looks like they know that's some stupid shit, is do not get under your vehicle, right? Because if the tornado moves your vehicle, it's still got wheels, it's going to run your ass over. That's what's going to happen. And that's even in that movie, I think Twister, where the tornado shows up and they hide under the vehicle, and it's like, it's going to move that vehicle and just run it right over your dumb ass head. That's what's going to happen. Darwin Award at its finest. So don't hide under your vehicle in a tornado, right? Because all that, you know, if it's an F1 even, it can still move your car. All it's going to do is beep, squish your fucking head. That's the sound of your head squishing. That's what you sound like when you get squished, because your dumbass hid under your car in a fucking tornado. Don't do that. So if you see a tornado, do not get under your vehicle. Follow the directions for seeking shelter outdoors, which are avoid areas with many trees. Avoid vehicles. Lie down flat in a gully, a ditch, or a low spot on the ground, and protect your head with an object or your arms. If you have a baby, just hide under that baby. Stick it on your head. Little baby helmet. Okay, number 5. If you're in a long span building, such as a shopping mall, theater, gymnasium, is especially dangerous because the roof structure is usually supported solely by the outside walls. Oh, interesting. Okay. Did not know that. I'm not a builder person. I don't, contractor. I don't build big ass buildings, So most such buildings hit by tornadoes cannot withstand the enormous pressure. They simply collapse. Well, that's no good. Yeah. If you are in a long span building during a tornado, stay away from the windows. Get to the lowest level of the building, the basement if possible, and away from the windows. If there is no time to get to a tornado shelter or to a lower level, try to get under a door frame, or because door frame is much more supported, okay? Because you're going to have 2 studs on either side of you in a door frame, right? That's why I know that much about building. Yeah. So let's see, get under a door frame or get up against something that will support or deflect falling debris. For instance, in a department store, get up against heavy shelving or counters. In a theater, get under the seats. Remember to protect your head. Yeah, that's important. Get that baby helmet on. Number 6, if you're in office buildings, schools, hospitals, churches, and other public buildings, the protocol is to move away from windows and glass doorways. You probably already guessed that. Go to the innermost part of the building on the lowest possible floor. Do not use elevators because the power may fail, leaving you trapped. Yeah, that's a bummer. You don't want to be stuck in an elevator, especially if you have to pee. And let's see, and protect your head and make yourself as small as a target as possible by crouching down. So kind of like when there's a tiger. When there's a tiger, you make yourself small, crunch down. No, I think that's bad advice. Don't take my advice. I'm not a tiger person. I don't know about these things. But yeah, make yourself small and tiny. And so when that tornado sees you, he says, "Oh, it's just a little baby," and then he goes tornadoes his way somewhere else. That's the protocol right there. Okay, so I think that is everything that I had for you. And we were about 20 minutes early. So I was an hour and 40-minute stream. That's got to be the shortest stream I've ever done. That's okay, because I got to eat something. I'm all hungry over here. I'm going to get some of my Cutie Pies gumbo. And then I got a lot of work I got to do tonight. Anyways, I got a bunch of novellas that I need to write over these next 3 months. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go work on my novellas. But anyways, to anybody who watched live, I know Cutie Pie and Bundy, I wanted to call you Paul Diamond for a second. Cutie Pie and Bundy, thanks for tuning in to the show. As always, I appreciate when you're watching. And to anybody who watches this on YouTube, I hope you found something useful in the stream and entertaining. And if you did, then please leave a like and subscribe. If not, then leave me a comment telling me why I wasn't entertaining, what I could have done better. It helps the algorithm and it helps me improve. And then maybe next time you come into the show, I'll have a better idea of what I could be doing to improve your viewing experience, right? But in the meantime, thank you for everybody who watched. Next week will be my last ever Wildlife Wednesdays because I'm tired of doing them. And next week will be apex predators of the Mesozoic era. I'm going to miss talking about dinosaurs, though. I might still do dinosaur streams. I might finagle them into my Terrifying Tuesdays because dinosaurs can be scary. Tomorrow, being at around like 6, 7 p.m., kind of the same time. I'm kind of just winging the time right now because who gives a fuck? Tomorrow is going to be Conspiracy Theory Thursdays. I'm going to be going over the smiley face murder theory. So that'll be fun. I'm very stoked for that. That's a cool conspiracy theory, right? So we'll check that out tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Conspiracy Theory Thursdays. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Peace.